So this week, like I said, I want to talk about don't change a thing, because just to be transparent, the last couple of weeks, I've been just going through some things, struggling with certain situations and certain people about my faith, and struggling with presenting the gospel. And God gave me something to talk about when I'm talking about don't change a thing, which means, though, to continue to take care of your relationship with God. Because sometimes we can have hurt, but also bring hurt to ourselves and miss the healing power of God, in which sometimes when we give too much room or too much credit to people who have hurt us, or held on to disrespect, when people don't really understand how God is blessing us or how God is using us. So I want to tell you, if you have been just praying, doing what you're supposed to do, trying to live a life that is pleasing to Jesus Christ, don't change a thing. Because sometimes we give the situation so much time, we can have a wrong judgment of ourselves. We may say, like, what are we doing wrong? Or maybe I should change up something that I'm doing to maybe please the person or even please the situation. And we may start to think that we should follow the crowd. And like I said, maybe we may think that there's something wrong with us. But like I said, if you've been praying, you've been studying and living out what God is teaching you and God has called you to do, then I want to encourage you and tell you, do not change a thing. Because the reason why I say this is that God gave me something in Matthew chapter 7 and verse 6. It says this. It says, don't waste what is holy on people who are unholy. Don't throw your pearls to pigs. They will trample the pearls and then turn and attack you. And really what that means is that when Jesus says that, he's talking about having discernment. He's not saying that you cannot go and present the gospel. He's not saying that if you see someone who is unholy, to turn away from them. What he's saying is that don't waste what he's given you, which is sacred, and his sacred gospel, on people who continually reject you or continually disrespect you in the midst of you trying to live your life for God. And something else that I looked at also in 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 23, it says, again, I say to you, don't get involved even in foolish, ignorant arguments that only start fights. So with that being said, is that I believe that it ties into what Jesus said, because when it talks about they will take the pearls and trample on the pearls and then turn and attack you. Sometimes when people disagree with our life and trying to live a life of Christ, they will turn on you. They will try to make you look foolish. They will try to start arguments with you. But like Timothy says, it says again, don't get in foolish arguments. And don't let it get to the point to where it starts fights. So just think about that for a moment, because like I said, I have been struggling for a couple of weeks with this. Struggling, trying to share my faith and being rejected. We know it's partly the enemy, it's partly the world and the way the world thinks. But sometimes we do get frustrated. Sometimes I got a little, down about it. But God shows us about do not cast our pearls to swine, meaning basically to people who just don't care. Don't continue to do that and go back and forth with them. But also, it also says in Matthew chapter 7 and verse 20, that's why I'm talking about don't change anything, because it says this. Jesus says, yes, just as you can identify a tree by its fruit, so you can identify people by their actions. So just because you have been maybe disrespected for the gospel, or maybe you've been, rejected for the way you live, or even people being jealous about how God is blessing you, continue to stay in your word, continue to keep praying, and continue to let him lead you. Because like it says, you can be identified by your actions. Don't let the world turn you away from what God has taught you, and keep, like it says, keep those pearls, those sacred things with you, and continue to live your life for Christ. I know it's short this week, but I thank y'all for watching again, and we'll see you next time.